For this space of 10 to 15 minutes, I want to invite you to switch from a posture of giving to a posture of receiving. As we begin our time together, I want you to find a position that will best help you to be open to take whatever is offered to you, either by the words that I speak or the thoughts and feelings that you have. So for all the times you have been a gift and a blessing, I invite you to receive this blessing. Several of my chaplain friends will have heard me share this story before. It is about a writer, priest, and professor, Henri Nouwen. He spent almost 20 years in academia, and he left his position at Harvard Divinity to work as a pastor, a chaplain at Large Daybreak, which is a community in Ontario that serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the story I want to share is from his book, Life of the Beloved, where he focuses on an encounter that impacted how he understood the word and the act of blessing. He writes about a resident named Janet, who came up to him one night as he was walking on his way to lead one of the services in the houses there. And she said to him, "Henri, can you give me a blessing?" And in sort of an automatic response, he goes to perform the exact same blessing he's given to countless others. And instead of being grateful, she protests him, saying, "No, that doesn't work. I want a real blessing." And it was then that he became aware that while he was providing something meaningful, it was a ritual. And so its familiarity, even though it was something important, was not enough for that moment. So he apologized to her and said, "Let me give you a real blessing when we're all together at our service later." That worked for her. She smiled and they set apart on their ways. And so after the regular service concluded, as about 30 of them were gathered there, Henri said, "Janet has asked me for a special blessing, and she feels that she needs that now." So eagerly she stands up, walks toward him, and throws her arms around him, her head resting on his chest. He's trying to hold her up, and the robe that he's wearing just covers over her, and she is almost vanished in the folds. And instead of a ritual blessing, he begins by saying that she is beloved, that she is precious, that her smile, her kindness toward others in the house show what a beautiful human being she truly is. He recognizes that she has felt a little low the past few days and that there is some sadness in her heart. And through all of that, she is still a very special person and is deeply loved by all the people who are there with her in that room. And so as he finishes, Janet looks up at him, she smiles, and she returns to her seat. And shortly after this, another resident raises her hand and says, "I want a blessing too." So he goes and he speaks individual blessings to many more of the residents that were gathered there, but he also gives one to one of their assistants, a student that was named John. And he said to him, "John, it is so good that you are here. Your presence is a joy for all of us. When things are hard and life is burdensome, always remember that you are loved." And so Nouwen realized that night that it takes more than being called to sustain us where we are, that there must be an ongoing blessing that allows us to hear in new ways that we are loved, that we are appreciated, and not alone. So in the next few moments, I want us to imagine ourselves in the places of those in this story. I want us to take a few seconds with each person as I say them aloud to imagine where you see yourself in their situation. With Henri, a well-meaning caregiver and leader who received a request for a very special favor. With Janet, a resident who has not felt herself lately and is in need for someone to care about her personally. With John, a hard worker who is worn out and in need of the same love he provides to others. As you continue to imagine, I want to share with you why I chose this story and why I continue to return to this story so many times for so many different reasons. This story reminds me not only of my humanity, but the humanity of those I work with and provide service to. It's difficult for me on a daily basis, especially as of late, not to turn each request I'm given by a patient or a family member that we serve, a colleague or a supervisor at our company, or my spouse and dog at home into an empty ritual that reciprocates the need with a response that will hopefully fix whatever is missing. And there are many ways that healthcare workers are being thanked right now, and they are very sweet, either by local companies or people in the community or those we work with that are reminding us they care and appreciate us. But sometimes even those things are not enough. And that's okay. And I want you to know that all of those feelings are valid and okay. May you also know that you are loved by people around you, that the work and love that you give to others is important, that you are important and worth being loved in your own way by others and yourself. And may you have the courage not only to continue your work, but also to raise your hand and ask another to remind you that you are special and worthy of love. May you receive this blessing. Take care and be safe.